Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be explaining the difference between the equals method and the equalsIgnoreCase methods. And we use these methods to compare strings together. So I'm going to go ahead and start by defining a string variable. And this is a variable that I will hard code and I will give it a value. Now the second string is a string that I want the user to enter. So I'm going to call this user entry. Now to be able to get some entry from the user, I'm going to need my scanner class. So I'm going to define a variable called input and I'll create an instance of the scanner. And this is so I can get entry from the user's keyboard. And Eclipse is complaining it doesn't know what the scanner is. So if I put the mouse, if I hover the mouse over it, it's going to give me the option to import the scanner class. So that's it. Now what I want to do is I would like to give the user a message and I'll say print, and because I want the user entry to be stuck to the text I'm putting, I don't want to use a print line. So I'm just going to stick to the print method. Okay, so here is where I'll store the entry that the user types in from the keyboard into the variable that we called user entry. Now I'm going to use the reference to our scanner, and I'm going to use the next line method to get string input from the user. Sorry about that semicolon in the middle of the brackets. Okay, so you might think that to compare these two strings, you would do this. And I'm going to explain to you why this will not work. So let me just print a message to the user, assuming that if these two equal each other, I'll say that strings are equal. And if that is not the case, they're not equal to each other, then I'll be saying these strings are not equal. So let me just run this program. And we know that we are comparing against the word test. So if I write test, and this should give me true here, but that's not really the case. I'm getting the else being executed, so I'm getting strings are not equal. And this is because when you use the double equal sign, the address locations of these strings are being compared, and they'll never be the same since they both have different addresses. So the correct way to compare two strings is to use the equals method. So the equals method will compare this string against the second string that we put in between brackets, like this. So now I'm going to run the program, and this time I'm going to write test, and this is going to compare this text with the text that the user enters. This should say strings are equal, and that is what's happening. But if I write test with a small t for the first letter, this is saying that the two strings are not equal. So if you wanted this to still give you true, if you write this as a small t or a capital T, then you would change this to the ignore case method. So this will just compare the text. It will compare the number of letters and compare these letters for the similarity, but it will ignore any cases. So now I write test, it will say strings are equal. So that's it. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.